Ma'am, we are starting, ma'am.
Yeah.
So very good morning, all. So I'm Dr. Stalin on behalf of Shield Healthcare, welcoming you all for the today's webinar on women's health. Before starting the session, I would like to congratulate and adore all the women who has joined here for this session in the today's webinar. So as you all know, women are the driving force which is driving the world today, and it's necessary to praise them on this special occasion. Of course, we have to adore them daily, on every day. We have to praise this womanhood. So we are specially celebrating this Women's Day to praise their presence, and we also need to praise them. So before starting this, I would like to welcome Miss Ashika to welcome Dr. Anjalakshi ma'am. Over to you, Ashika.
Yeah, okay. So first of all, a very good afternoon to one and all present here, and a happy Women's Day to all the wonderful, outstanding, marvelous, adorable, and nurturing women out there. So at the outset, I would like to thank the principal of SDNB Vaishnav College, Crumpet, to accept and arrange for a national webinar on Women's Day. And TNFOG and Arise Charitable Trust joined together to celebrate Women's Day by presenting a program on this women's health. So, Tamil Nadu Federation of Obstetrics and Gynecologists, that is TNFOG, was started by Dr. Anjalakshi Chandrasekhar and Dr. S. Sampath Kumari to promote public health awareness programs in anemia prevention and in all age groups, adolescent and menopausal health, holistic maternal care, comprehensive family welfare services, cancer screening, and prevention in women, and respectful maternity care across the state. Arise Charitable Trust is a non-governmental organization that was started by Mrs. Nimmi Challappa with a spirit of service to serve the vulnerable and economically marginalized communities. Arise also conducts many awareness campaigns and medical campaigns. Srimati Devkumar Nannalal Bhatt Vaishnav College for Women was started in 1968. This college is the first women's college in Kanchipuram district, Tamil Nadu. The present chairman, Smriti Madhuta Bhatt, is dynamic and energetic leader with innovative ideas with the potential of executing them precisely. The college secretary, Ms. Shri C.M. Tolia, is a meticulous planner with a panoramic vista for the development of the education, especially for the privileged children. Dr. Geeta is the principal of SDNB College of Women. She is a statistics professor with 35 years of teaching experience. Dr. Geeta has attended many national and international seminars, conferences, symposia, and presented papers. She has also received accolades for contributing to many journal publications. Dr. Anjalakshi Chandrasekhar, MD, DGO, PhD, and FICOG, is the founder of TNFOG, and she has been the past president of OXY, governing council member of DIPSI, and she has got her PhD in pregnancy diabetology from the Tamil Nadu Dr. MGR University. She is also the recipient of the Best Doctor Award from IMA, and she is now a retired professor OBG from Madras Medical College, and she has also presented a number of papers in national and international conferences. We are very proud to have you here, ma'am. Now over to you.
Thank you, Ashika.
Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. My dear speakers and audience. First of all, let me wish all of you a happy International Women's Day. On Women's Day, we celebrate the achievements of women in various fields. In this commemoration of that, we have today's program on women's health to give awareness on various health issues of women. We have eminent speakers, Dr. Lakshmi Srikande, to talk on the physiology and the problem from menarche to menopause. Dr. Usha Sriram, a renowned endocrinologist, to talk to us on endocrinological problem in the youth. Here, I wish to say that you people are very much blessed to listen to Dr. Usha Sriram, because for whose appointment you have to wait for months before you get the appointment. And thirdly, we have the star speaker, Dr. Sambat Kumari, to talk to you on adolescent counseling in all the aspects. I welcome Dr. Lakshmi Srikande, the founder patron IPP, ISOBAB, with the Vidarbha chapters, and a warm welcome to Dr. Usha Sriram, diplomat of American Board of Internal Medicine, endocrinology HOD, and HOD of diabetes and endocrinology at VHS, founder Divas, and president Indian Society for Bone and Mineral Research. And I also welcome my beloved secretary TNF OG and the vice president-elect FOXY, that Dr. Sambat Kumari. I welcome every delegate and to celebrate this International Women's Day with a feast to their ears. I welcome everyone once again. Thank you and Jai Hind. I request Dr. Lakshmi Srikande to go on her talk.
Yeah, thank you so much.
Excuse me, ma'am.
Yeah, you
I
are
have the
saying something.
introduction for you. Yeah. No, ma'am, I need to give the introduction.
Lakshmi Srikande is the chairperson-elect ICOG Indian College of OB-GYN, national corresponding editor, Journal of OB-GYN of India, Dogi, national corresponding secretary, Association of Medical Women India, and she has got so many prestigious for her credit. I request Dr. Lakshmi Srikande to proceed.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much, Dr. Anjalakshi and Dr. Sampath, for inviting me and making part of this wonderful program. I can see so many college students have logged in, and I believe all are female students, all are girls.
Girls.
All are girls. So that is high. So Dr. Sampath told me to speak on puberty to menopause, and today have I shared my screen? No.
No.
I forgot to share. Yeah, just a minute. I will share. No problem. Trichy. Yes. Now my slide is visible.
It is visible, Dr. Lakshmi.
Yeah. So Dr. Sampath told me to speak on puberty to menopause, and today is International Women's Day. The theme of this year is gender equality today for a sustainable tomorrow. So it is break the bias. So I thought, since every student is a college girl, so let us speak on this occasion on gender equality. You all will agree with me that women face discrimination from womb to tomb. I have highlighted just few important stages of her life where she faces substantial discrimination. First and foremost, she faces discrimination inside the womb in the form of feticide. Then when she is school going age, she has different kind of discrimination. At adolescent age, she faces discrimination at workplace. After marriage, her life is not all hunky-dory. And when she crosses 40 and becomes menopausal, she has her own set of discriminations. So girls, here I am talking about all the problems, and I would like to give you solutions because we all know the problems. Since you all are college going students, the first and the important step of discrimination is feticide. You all must be aware that in India, many couples, they prefer son over daughter. And that take help of technology, they go for sex determination. And if they come to know that the child inside the womb is a female, they go and get it terminated. In Rajasthan and Haryana, if a girl child is born, she is killed by various ways, even after the birth, and that is called as infanticide. So it's a very, very big problem. Since you all college girls have logged in, so I would like to give you the solution what you all can do to avoid this discrimination. What we are propagating is, in a marriage, you all know that there are 7 feras. We want that you all should take a 8th fera where you and the groom should take a pledge that when you become pregnant, you will not go for sex determination and also sex selection. So this is the first step of discrimination where you all can play a big part and you can avoid discrimination to all the girls who are there in the womb. Now the second discrimination stage is at the school going age. We all know that literacy is really increasing, but it is still suboptimal at the rural areas. There are various reasons for girls not going to school. And if they are not going to school because of financial reasons, I urge everyone not to do charity to the temples or to the churches or anywhere, but sponsor education of a girl child. Because if you educate a girl child, you are contributing substantially to the development of the society and the development of the nation. Now, once these girls turns to an adolescent age, they become victims of sexual abuse, not only physically, but on internet, that is on social media. She faces exploitation, violence, acid attacks, rapes. Early marriage is also a problem still in India. And if she is married early, she becomes pregnant while she is in her teens. Acid attack, you all must have watched this movie Chapak. It is on a real life story of Lakshmi Agarwal, where acid was thrown on her face when she refused the advances of an elderly man. Remember, acid attack is a punishable offense. So if you see acid attack or if you feel threatened that somebody might throw acid on you, please be proactive. Rape itself is a very, very broad definition. It is available on Google. Rape is not just only penetration. You all should go and read the definition. It is very, very essential that we teach all adolescents about the good touch and bad touch. We all have to be proactive for sex education, schools and junior colleges. And whenever you see any victim of sexual exploitation or rape, please don't blame the victim. We all in the habit of saying, oh, why you wore the short clothes, why you were out at night at 12 o'clock, at 12 midnight, you should not have gone alone. I mean, there are many things by which we start judging the victim and we start blaming the victim. If you come across any victim, please be supportive, be empathetic. It's a punishable offense. You have to lodge an FIR and you have to cooperate with the police. Now, this is another area in the era of social media and internet, that is the pornography and obscenity. Remember, girls, this is also a punishable offense. So don't tolerate it that you can't do anything. Go and become proactive. So what you all can do, I know these are the just first a few examples which I have quoted about the discrimination which you can face at adolescent phase of your life. So what you all can do, start with yourself. You have to learn to understand your own self-defense techniques. You have to see your family, friends, neighborhood. We as a doctor and association and NGOs, we are catching them young. Like now, Dr. Sampath has arranged this program for you all. We as a doctor are very vigilant because we are the first point of contact between that lady and us. So most of the time she confides in us. We have to be helpful and you all have to be updated with the law. Menstrual hygiene. I am surprised that even in 21st century, it's a very big challenge and we have to go all out to the schools and colleges to make aware our adolescents about the menstrual hygiene. I still remember when we used to go physically to the schools, one teacher came and told me that, madam, this girl is foul smelling since 2 days. And when I inquired She said she has not changed her sanitary pad for last 2 days. And the reason was because the pad was not soaked. That is why I have not changed it. Girls, remember, whether your pad is soaked or not soaked, you have to change it 4 to 6 hourly. You have to wash your hands before changing the pad and after changing the sanitary napkin. You all know how to dispose it off, and not only you, I know you all are educated, you know about menstrual hygiene, but teach others also about menstrual hygiene. And it is an urgent need to educate boys about menstruation. As soon as the ad of sanitary napkin comes, the family starts hush hush. The boys, they cover their eyes, their face. I mean, it should not happen. Menstruation is a normal physiological process through which every woman goes every month in her reproductive age group. So boys also should know about the physiology of menstruation, and they should know that it is an important part of a girl's life. Now, when you become educated, you go to a workplace, again, you are prone for exploitation, sexual harassment. Unequal pay is very common for the same kind of work. The chances of promotions are less for women as compared to men despite of your merits, and you also face physical, economical, and emotional abuse. Remember, sexual harassment is an unwelcome act of physical intimacy, and it is also a punishable offense. I know in India, in public places, this kind of unwanted touch is very common. But don't tolerate it, protest it, be proactive. This act of sexual harassment of women at workplace 2013 was passed with the objective of providing protection to the woman at workplace. And this act has superseded the Vishaka guidelines. Remember, at every institution where there are more than 10 employees, there has to be an internal complaints committee, and the head of that committee has to be a woman. If you are subjected to sexual harassment of any kind, first you approach this internal committee. Gender pay gap, I have already told you, not only in India, worldwide, female in general, they face discrimination as far as the pay scale is concerned. Again, when it comes to workforce participation, you all can see that the manual jobs usually are carried by the woman in our country. And in India, mostly the women, they do the agricultural work. In the software industry, only the 30% of the workforce is female. We know that there are various success stories of women-owned businesses, and the example is Shri Mahila Graha Udyog Lijjat Papad. You all must have heard about Lijjat Papad. And then the Amul movement, where in the district of Gujarat called as Anand, these female, they formed a cooperative society. So what you all can do if you face this kind of discrimination at your place? We all are doctors. That is why I have written that majority of us have our own hospitals. We should have internal complaints committee. As far as we are the employer, we should not discriminate between our male employees and female employees. We should give chances to females as far as the recruitment is concerned. And you have to be vigilant wherever there are male and female staff. Now comes the marriage. Every girl dreams of getting married, and she thinks that whatever is shown on TV and media, that her life, her dream prince will come and her life will become a very, very good. But it does not happen. Many of the women after marriage, they are tortured physically, economically, and emotionally, not only by the husband, but also by the in-laws. Our women, they don't have reproductive health choices. That is what kind of contraception they should use, when they should have a child, how many children they should have. These choices are not done by the female herself. Dowry again is very, very rampant in India across all the districts and states of India. I know it's a punishable offense, but very few girls are coming forward and they are reporting, they are breaking the marriages because at the last moment the groom side is asking for dowry. Here I would like each and every participant who has logged in with me to take a pledge that they will neither give dowry nor they will take dowry. So dowry, it is the society change, it is the mindset, then only we can, I don't know whether we can stop or not, but we can decrease the menace of dowry from our society if the young generation takes a pledge not to give and not to accept dowry. When it comes to land and property rights, I know the act is in the favor of females. Now, if it's the father-owned property, girls have the equal rights. But majority of the girls are not aware of their rights. So it is high time that you be educated, you update yourself with your rights, and if you face any kind of discrimination, you should approach the appropriate authorities. Domestic violence is not only a violence committed by husband over a wife, it is basically a misuse of power in a relationship in order to gain control over another person. Do you think it contains only physical violence? No. It has 5 components: physical, sexual, psychological, economical, and emotional abuse. Any one of these entity can contribute as a domestic violence. Government has come out with a very strong act, that is Protection of Domestic Violence Act. In this COVID pandemic, we also saw the shadow pandemic. What is this shadow pandemic? In COVID pandemic, everyone was forced to stay at home, work from home. So in a small place, everyone was staying, the husband, the wife, and it is reported that during the COVID pandemic, the domestic violence cases has increased by 22%. And this is called as shadow pandemic. Not only the women were subjected to domestic violence, but we never think about the children who have witnessed this domestic violence because schools and colleges were closed. They were also in the same room when domestic violence was taking place. And this domestic violence has created a very bad psychological trauma to these children who have witnessed domestic violence. Violence against women, again, it dates back to the history of the mankind. I mean, you can go back and see that it is really rampant in all countries, across all cultures, and UN has made, and it has come out with a declaration to stop violence against women. So this is the sign, and they have come out with orange color, that is orange the world. What about the situation of violence against women in India? It is alarming. You can see the cruelty by husband and their relatives is 43%, molestation around 20%, rape 10.6%, kidnapping and abduction 15.6%, sexual harassment around 4%, dowry deaths 3.8%, immoral trafficking 1.1%, and other forms of domestic violence 0.2%. India is the 4th most dangerous country in the world after Afghanistan, Congo, and Pakistan as far as the safety of women is concerned. Up to 50 million girls are missing over the past century due to female infanticide and feticide. 44.5% of girls are still married before the age of 18. And the manifestation of violence against women occur throughout the lifespan. Like I said, from the womb, infancy, childhood, adulthood to the old age, and it occurs in all the socioeconomic and cultural groups. And in some northern parts, honor killing, you must have read and seen in social media that honor killing is also done. Now there are various acts in the Indian Penal Code, but the problem is that women most of the times they don't know that they are the victim of domestic violence. They think that okay, it's normal. What if husband has scolded me? What he was under stress? He has beaten me. What if my mother-in-law has scolded me? They take everything for granted and they never realize that this is the domestic violence. Even if a husband or mother-in-law is constantly nagging you day in and day out, that is also a psychological domestic violence. But women, they don't speak out, they don't come forward, and they don't lodge a complaint. And the sad part is this, that prevention is preventable. Violence is preventable. How it can be preventable? First and foremost is gender sensitization, which we are doing it today, so that you all girls should know. But more than girls, we have to educate the boys about the gender equality and about the gender discrimination. I don't know, but in Maharashtra and northern part, if there is a boy and a girl in a family, usually the boys are given many privileges over the girl, the educational opportunities, the freedom is more to the boys as compared to the girls. We have to improve the socioeconomic condition of the woman, and I am coming to all these factors that the lifestyle, media, internet, religious leaders, social organizations, everyone can play a part in preventing the violence against women. So awareness and education, I would love to give a talk for boys to educate them about gender equality, because they can protest if they see that the parents are discriminating between means brother and sister. He can protest that sister has also equal rights. How we can improve the socioeconomic status of women? Because if she is financially independent, then she is at her will. She has many rights and she knows she is aware of her rights. So the first and foremost step of women empowerment is education, education, and education. If she is educated, then only she has the opportunity to get financially independent and she knows what are her rights. If she is educated, her children will be educated and she can contribute substantially to the development of the society. We should provide more job opportunities to the women. We should try to have their representation in different sectors. We should make them aware about their rights, and also we should tell them about various legal provisions which they can take help of if they face discrimination. Financial freedom, I have told you, wherever possible, try to sponsor education of one girl child. Now, this lifestyle which is shown on TV and media is also taking a heavy toll as far as violence against women is concerned, because alcohol abuse, substance abuse, all these things are in some way responsible for increasing the violence against women. So here we have a role of promoting healthy lifestyle, including the stress management in the family. Media, I don't know. We as an NGO, we don't have any control over them, because what they are propagating is entirely different than what we expect them to do. They are showing females in a very bad light. They are showing females that they are inferior to the male. But somewhere we all should make a noise and we should raise a voice that media should become responsible as far as projection of female is concerned. The role of computers and internet, there are various pornographic sites. The face of the female can be morphed and they circulate your videos and they make it viral. So somewhere there is a need to control these unauthorized pornographic sites. Religious leaders, we have approached time and again, and we have requested them to please, when they are preaching, they should tell their followers to treat women equally. There should not be any discrimination. But so far, we have got very poor response from the religious leaders. NGOs like Dr. Sampath is doing, we all are trying our level best. We are reaching out to societies. We are trying our level best to sensitize them about the gender equality. These are various safety laws which are there. You can see there are more than 50 laws which government has created for the safety of women. But I would like to mention only one act here, and that is POCSO Act. You all should go and read this act. This was enacted in 2012, and it is a special law to protect both boys and girls under 18 years of age. And since college girls are logged in this program, I would like to just emphasize one point in POCSO Act, that if you indulge in sexual intercourse, even if it is by consent, and you are less than 18 years of age, then this is a punishable offense under POCSO Act. So just remember and go through in detail about the POCSO Act. So during marriage, what you all can do for parents, they should try their level best to make daughters financially independent. Don't give and take dowry. Don't discriminate between daughter-in-law and daughter. Have financial plan for your daughter. We always tell them that instead of giving so many ornaments, so many jewelries, why don't you create a fixed deposit or a mutual fund in the name of your daughter, which she can, and she herself only should be the nominee to that mutual fund or that whatever investment you are doing, so that she can take the help of those finances whenever in need of crisis. Remember, girls, marriage should not be your ultimate goal. Focus on your studies. If you study well, you become financially independent, and then sky is the limit. If you happen to see any injustice or violence, don't remain silent. Be proactive and try to help the victim in whatever way you can do it. We have to improve the socioeconomic status of the woman, again by education, job opportunities, and giving them various responsibilities. Have I gone backwards? So we all have to educate and evolve. All these stages which I have mentioned here, women, they quietly suffer, or even if she raises her voice, it is silenced or suppressed by the family member. She neither knows that she has rights to fight these crimes and what remedies are available in law to protect herself. And it is high time that women themselves rise to protect themselves. So women empowerment, in simple word, can be described as making women empowered so that they can make their own decisions about their own lives and well-being in family and society. But whenever I say women empowerment, friends, is it just a dream or it is a smart goal? It is a smart goal, as you can see, if we make it specific, measurable, achievable, realistic, and time-bound. So instead of talking in generic terms about the woman empowerment, if we make a smart goal, we can definitely contribute towards raising the socioeconomic status of our women. In India, it is so sad that we worship the goddesses. But when it comes to the living females, nobody respects. Even if they respect, I mean, there are many cruelties which are done. There is so much of discrimination. If she raises voice, she is silenced. So together on this Women's Day, let us take a pledge that together we will unleash the girl's power in all its dimensions. And believe me, together we can, because we women have to empower the woman. So friends, take a pledge that we will try our level best to support women. We will not harass women, because it is said that women are the worst enemy of the woman, because the mother-in-law tortures the daughter-in-law, and there are so many discrimination done by the female against females. So as a female, you take a pledge that you will support women at all fronts. So thank you so much for your patient hearing.
Thank you, Dr. Lakshmi. You have beautifully narrated how to break the bias.
Yeah,
the
today, break the
gender
bias.
difference. Yes. Okay. So thank you so much. Now I invite Dr. Usha Sriram. Dr. Usha Sriram, I'm very happy to introduce Dr. Usha Sriram. She is a graduate from Madras Medical College, AB Internal Medicine and AB Endocrinology, Diabetes and Metabolism, head of the Department of Endocrinology, Diabetes and Metabolism, Voluntary Health Services, Chennai, President, Indian Society for Bone and Mineral Research, founder Jiva, and a special interest in GDM women's health, osteoporosis, preconceptional care, and medical ethics. Great, Dr. Vishal Sriram, please.
Yeah. Good morning, madam. Thank you so
Good morning,
much.
good morning.
Happy Women's Day to you, especially who is doing such great work, and to all of the women who are listening, all the young women who are listening. Happy Women's Day to each and every one of you. Today is a very, very special day. So yesterday I was part of a program, and somebody asked, why do we need a Women's Day? There is no Man's Day. So, and I said, it's really important that we, celebrate and be grateful for all the things that women do. It's a special gift being a woman. And I particularly thank our previous speaker for giving such empowering messages, because it is a gift to be born a woman, and because we can do everything that men can do and have children. So I really, I think we should be very proud of that and can accomplish anything. So today I have been asked to talk about some endocrine and metabolic health in the young. And next slide, please. I just thought I will briefly touch upon some of the important health issues. But before we go there, I just want to say that these last 2 years have been most unusual time because of COVID. And unless somebody has been more than 100 years old, this is the first time in their life that something like this has happened. And in your young lives, for 2 years to be confined mostly to the house, taking online classes, not meeting your friends and many of your relatives, not being able to attend classes in person, meet their friends. This has been very, very difficult for them. So I think fortunately we are coming out of this pandemic, and the UN Secretary General Antonio Guterres put it very nicely. He said, put women and girls at the center of all our efforts to recover from COVID-19. And it's important also because during this time, women have had more mental health issues, they've had more domestic violence, and some 40 million women have been pushed below poverty line. Women have given extra caregiving for children, caregiving for elders, and also doctors and nurses and frontline health workers have done so much for the health of people. So we must celebrate our women, all the women in your life. Next slide, please. So it's now very well known that girls and women should be at the heart of development. And if we are able to do that, put in efforts to, and I'll show you in the next slide. Next slide, please. It's very important. Next slide, please. Why we have to focus on our young women is because we used to think, and Madam Sapat Kumari can easily attest to this, we used to think that healthy mothers had healthy babies. We know now that suddenly one day you can become a healthy mother. You have to start out by being a healthy girl. Then you become a healthy young woman. Then you become a healthy pregnant woman and a healthy mother. And then you have a healthy baby. And why this is important is because currently women who are in high school and colleges, and as our previous speaker has also shown, in India, still a big percentage of people get married and have children below the age of 18. So the health of the young woman influences the health of her baby. And the health of the baby, the first 9 months the baby is inside the mother's womb is very important, because that in my field now, what we know that the womb is the uterus, is more important than the home, because many things get imprinted in the baby during those first 9 months. So if the mother is not healthy, meaning her nutrition is not good, or if she has other health problems or mental health, physical health, her nutrition is not good, she's overweight, underweight, so many things, then the baby is not going to be born healthy. And if that baby is not born healthy, she's not going to be a healthy girl or a healthy young woman and have a healthy pregnancy. And therefore, the next generation again becomes unhealthy. So now you see how your health is not just important for your own health, for you to live a very long, healthy, productive, happy life. It's also important for the next generation and the next generation and the next generation. So that's why I said being a woman is a gift. We are entrusted with this responsibility of making the next generations healthy. Next slide, please. So as a endocrinologist, I deal with a lot of hormonal issues, and in addition to what biologically our hormones, tell us whether we are a male or a female or what our hormones are. What makes us the female gender is more than that. That depends upon childhood experience, education, healthcare, emotional support, so many things. The lived environment we are in, the house we live in, all of that influences the culture, social factors. That's what makes the female sex into the gender. Women as a gender is influenced by all these socio-cultural, economic factors. And you can see how that is so important. Next slide, please. So the first thing I want to mention very briefly is being overweight or underweight is a big problem in our country. We are dealing with both. Some countries are only dealing with a lot of people being overweight. But in our country, we are also dealing with a lot of young women being underweight. So nutrition is very, very, very
There is a problem with your audio, Usha.
Can you hear me now? Hear me now, madam?
Yeah, yes, yes.
Okay, I'll hold it closer to my to me.
Okay.
So it's very, very important that women, young women, pay a lot of attention to their body weight. So neither should we become overweight, because that has a lot of health consequences, from diabetes to heart problems to joint problems to so many, and then reproductive issues, all that happen if a woman is overweight. I also want to tell you that being underweight is also a big problem because you could be anemic, your bones may not be healthy, and you may not be able to have good nutrition in your pregnancy, and the baby weight is not good. So you can see how both being overweight and underweight is not good for women. So I want to tell you, why do we become overweight? If we don't eat healthy, and if we are physically inactive, if we don't sleep enough, and if we are stressed. So you can see that all of these things are problems that can happen to young women. So make sure that you eat most of your meals or all of your meals home cooked at home, and avoid junk food, eat the right portions, be physically very, very active as you can be. This doesn't mean you have to join a gym. You can just be moving around, being active, and helping at home, doing household chores, going everywhere by walk, taking the steps and not the elevator, doing simple things like that. You can keep your weight down. Another important thing is to sleep at least 7 to 8 hours a day. Next slide, please. Next slide, please. Yeah. So who is at risk for obesity? This is actually, we used to think that only people who are very affluent, develop overweight and obesity and problems like that. Unfortunately, now any socioeconomic group is at risk for obesity, because we now have plenty of junk food, things like chips and chaat and deep fried foods and Swiggy and Zomato and everything so easily, that all groups are now becoming at risk for obesity. From the time the baby is born to old age, women are at much higher risk than men for obesity. And also because a lot of TV watching, lot of sitting and looking at the telephone, at the cell phone, this is one of the big reasons for obesity among young people. Next slide, please. So what obesity leads to, and which is a big concern to me, is diabetes. And obesity can come because either we are sitting a lot, sedentary lifestyle, or urbanization, globalization. When we used to do different kind of working in the fields and doing a lot of physical labor to the kind of work we do now. For everything, we have a machine. We wash clothes in a washing machine. We wash dishes in a dishwasher. So all of those things, we use a mop. We don't sit down and wipe the floor. Everything has changed. But in addition to that, women have specific problems. One of them being gestational diabetes. This is diabetes that happens during pregnancy, very big problem in our country. And that again happens when women are overweight. And also a condition called polycystic ovary syndrome, unique to women, about which I'll say a few words later. And very important, that mental stress. So we must do things like yoga and meditation and build on relationships and read books and things like that to lower our stress and sleep well. And women are also caregivers. They take care of their families, and that adds a lot of pressure and difficulties. And these are all drivers of diabetes in women. And believe me, so many young people, women in their teens and 20s and 30s are developing diabetes now. Next slide. And why should young girls and women really learn about diabetes? I just mentioned, very big problem in our country, even with young women. And they have a condition called pre-diabetes, meaning their sugars are already not normal, maybe not yet diabetes, but it is beginning to rise, and it's called pre-diabetes. There's a lot of pre-diabetes in our young women. So, and there is a lot of obesity in our young women, and diabetes can lead to this gestational diabetes. And if pre-diabetes can lead to gestational diabetes, and if they're already starting with diabetes, their pregnancies can be more complicated. So many reasons, and I'll show you two more. Next slide. lots of, diabetes causes lot of complications, from eye to kidney to feet problems to heart and stroke and so many things. So it's very important that by eating healthy, being active, sleeping well, lowering stress, and checking the sugars periodically, you can keep yourself free of diabetes. 75% of diabetes is preventable. So that is what I want to tell you, young women today, that you should work on this and also help your sisters and your mom and your grandmother and aunts and everyone to prevent diabetes. Next slide, please. And like I mentioned, there are many risk factors and which I outlined already specific for women, but keep in mind that sitting in one place, sedentary life is a very important risk factor, and that's happening to a lot of women because they're working in IT industry or sitting down and working in a factory. So we must start to move around a lot, do a lot of household work. Very, very important. Next slide, please. So how can you eat healthy? As you can see from this slide, lot of vegetables and fruit and whole grains and dals and milk and curds. And so the traditional foods that we eat in our country is the best for us. Limit the amount of rice and eat more of whole grains and vegetables. And next slide, please. You can see what you need to avoid more, really to stay healthy are fruit juices and milkshakes and ice creams and burgers and pizza and chicken and Indian sweets. And, these are the kind of things, and big meals. So portion control is also very, very important. Coca-Cola and sodas like that, Maaza, these are all very, very unhealthy foods that young people, everyone should stay away from. Next slide. So for women, we have something very unique. I told you is our ability to bear children. But our life cycle is also very, very unique, because when a girl turns 12 or 13 or 14, at that time she starts having menstrual cycles. Then she, during pregnancy, then breastfeeding, and then the menstruation continues. She may have more children, and then she goes through menopause. And then this baby, like I told you, is influenced by the mother's nutrition also. But as I mentioned earlier, the stress that women have, psychological stressors, and throughout their life cycle can have long-standing effect on them and their babies. So lowering stress, keeping the mind healthy and happy is an important part of staying healthy for young women, because it has an impact on our hormones. Next slide. So very quickly about polycystic ovary syndrome, common problem, most common endocrine problem among women of reproductive age. Reproductive age means 15 to 45 or 49 is reproductive age. Most common hormonal problem. The usual complaints are irregular periods, acne or facial hair growth, and about half of the women are also overweight. So and I know that Madam Sampath Kumari is going to talk about adolescent health, but just to mention to you that this is a condition that is genetic, but it usually is amplified when the weight goes up. So young women, this is another important reason for you to keep your weight down, not thin and cachectic and have eating disorders, but I'm talking about healthy weight, not overweight. Next slide. Next thing I want to talk about is bone health. So osteoporosis and fractures, just like other conditions like diabetes and heart disease, are very common in women. And they predict that Asian women will have the highest amount of hip fractures in the coming years. Next slide. And why this is important and why am I talking about breaking a bone to a young audience is because our peak bone mass, meaning the amount of bone mass that we accumulate for the rest of our life, is done by the time we are about 20, in late teens or early 20s. So if you don't eat healthy, lots of protein, lots of calcium in our diet, milk, curds, greens, dals, and if you're not physically active, and if you don't get enough sunlight, you will not get your peak bone mass. And peak bone mass, I want to tell you, is like money in the bank. By the time you're 20, whatever money is put in the bank is the money you can take out when you're 50 or 60 or 70 or 80. So as you can see, after the peak bone mass, for a while it stays the same. Then after that, we start losing bone. So it is really up to you, young women, to make sure that your bones are healthy. So make sure you take adequate amount of calcium in your diet. You don't have to take tablets. Milk and curds and lots of greens and lots of dals, fish, chicken, eggs, all of these are foods that have calcium in them. You must take them and you must be physically active because the more muscle you have, the more healthy bones you have. And you must get sunlight because it's the best source, the most important source of vitamin D for us. If you're a vegetarian, there's no other source of vitamin D, only the sunlight. If you're non-vegetarian, you can have fish and you can have some egg yolks, but how much of that can you have? So the sunlight between 10 in the morning and 4 o'clock in the evening is the best time to get vitamin D, and you must do that. Next slide. Yeah, you can keep going on this slide because it shows, just keep going till you go to the next slide. Yeah. So why, I've come almost to the end of my talk, just to tell you that why in India, it is so important to talk to the young people, because India is a young country. Even though we have 1.4 billion people, 50% of them are below the age of 25. So we are a very young country, and most of our big part of our population is below the age of 25. So we have to pay attention to their health, especially the adolescent and the young, the women in their late teens and early 20s, most importantly, because all of these health issues that I talked about, and I think I have one slide on thyroid. Next slide. Yeah. So, no talk on endocrinology will be complete without something on thyroid, which is very big problem for women. So usual symptoms of, and this is a small gland that is in the front of the neck, and it makes a hormone that's very important for our metabolism and functioning of so many of our body cells. Normally, we don't know anything about it, but if it starts under functioning, then we start feeling tired and sleepy and having gaining weight and losing memory and things like that. And women can have irregular menstruation, heavy menstruation, and young people can also not grow as well. I'm talking about the very young people. So if it's overactive, we eat a lot, we lose weight, we feel heart is beating too fast, we sweat a lot, and may have no menstrual cycles. So thyroid is an important gland for women. And if you have any of these symptoms, you should go and see a doctor and they may check your thyroid. Or if you have a swelling in the front of the neck, you should go and see a doctor and they'll check it out. The good news is all thyroid conditions, we have excellent ways of detecting and treating with medicines now. So you have nothing to worry. Next slide, please. Last slide, I just want to say, for the post-COVID world, there are things that are happening. Things like what we call non-communicable disease. COVID is a communicable disease. We're talking about non-communicable disease, diabetes, heart disease, cancer, lung disease, all of these we think are going to rise. So we really have to protect people, against all these conditions. We also have to take care of women with, planned and unplanned pregnancies, because like I told you, preparing women for their pregnancies is very, very important. And during COVID, they may not have had a chance to take care of that. Mental health, I started with mental health. I cannot tell you how important it is. Make sure that you talk to your parents, talk to your grandparents, make phone calls to your friends, keep in touch with them. It's really important to come out of this COVID thing, feel happy. And what it does is it also keeps your entire body healthy and happy. And sexual and reproductive health services, meaning that, as Madam mentioned about menstrual hygiene, safe sexual practices, preparing for a pregnancy, all of this is very, very important. And more women have been pushed below poverty during COVID. So in whatever way you all can help women in this world, I think you should. And on that note, I want to say thank you again to Madam for a great opportunity. Thank you, Madam.
Thank you, Dr. Usha. That was an interesting talk. I think we'll have a lot of questions at the end of this program. Okay.
Sure.
So next we'll go to the Dr. Sambat Kumari's talk on adolescent counseling. Dr. Sambat. Can I have the Sambat? Sambat Kumari is the first Vice President elect 2020.
No problem. Leave it, Madam.
Yes.
Thank you, Madam.
Avai Adakam. Okay.
Yes, I will share the screen. Full screen தெரியுதா மேடம்?
இல்ல மேம், இன்னும் full screen வரல மேம்.
போட்டனே நான் full screen.
மேம் ஒண்ணும் இல்ல மேம், நீங்க ஸ்டாப் ஷேர் பண்ணிட்டு ஷேர் பண்ணும்போது எந்த ஐகான்ஸ் செலக்ட் பண்ணாதீங்க மேம். Just green color share and blue color share. That's it, ma'am.
Green color. Yes. இப்ப தெரியுதா?
Yes, ma'am. Full screen பண்ணுங்க மேம். No, ma'am. நீங்க செலக்ட் பண்றீங்க மேம். ஸ்டாப் ஷேர் பண்ணுங்க மேம்.
எப்பவும் போடுற மாதிரி தானே மேம் போடுறேன். ஏன் என்னாச்சு?
இல்ல மேம். ஷேர் ஸ்கிரீன், அதுக்கப்புறம் ப்ளூ கலர் ஷேர். தட்ஸ் இட் மேம்.
ப்ளூ கலர் ஷேர். வாட் இஸ் தி ஷேர் மட்டுமா?
ஆமா மேம். இந்த ஐகான்ஸ் செலக்ட் பண்ணாதீங்க.
வந்துச்சா? இப்ப தெரியுதா?
எஸ் மேம்.
எஸ். ஓகே.
Not
yet. Move ஆக மாட்டேங்குது.
Yes ma'am. Sambat.
Move ஆக மாட்டேங்குது.
மேம் ஒரு வாட்டி உள்ள கிளிக்
Okay. Good afternoon to all. First of all, I will thank the organizers for the wonderful opportunity, and thanks to Anjalakshmi Madam. Now we had the wonderful talk by Dr. Lakshmi and Dr. Usha Madam. Menarche to menopause and the reproductive age with the endocrinological problem. Now we can see about adolescence. Hope all of you have crossed the adolescence, late adolescence and youth. As all of us know, the adolescence is transition from childhood to adulthood. As per WHO, it is from 10 to 19 years. During this period, develops the secondary sexual characters, and adolescents need identity, and they have the well-formed opinions. These are all the challenges. See, always we talk that we have a good diet and everything, but as per statistics, still 45% girls are undernourished and 20% boys are undernourished. And again, the early marriage, less than 15 years, 26% get married, and less than 18 years, 54% gets married. And the sexual activity, again, with the adolescents, 20 to 30% boys are sexually active and 10% adolescent girls are sexually active. and 50 to 60% are know about the contraceptive methods, condoms, and what are all the other methods. So this is the statistics. So the adolescent counseling is very, very important. It starts from nutrition, mental health, sexual health, and Usha madam was talking about this, and finally also the vaccinations. See, as madam told, today's population of adolescents is 253 million. That is 22% of the population. India is the country which has highest population of the adolescents. So it's our duty to streamline the adolescents. By 2030, there are studies which tells that the adolescent populations will be of 40%. So adolescents should be handled with very, very care. Always you should not talk to the adolescents that when I was adolescent, I was like this, I was like that. But nowadays, today's adolescents will not like that. So you have to give only the information and not the advice. The adolescents which they don't like is advice. Okay, so if you handle them carefully, you can have beautiful things like this, beautiful, colorful things. Adolescents will be formed in a good manner. If you don't handle properly, that's all. Everything will be gone. So handle the adolescents with very, very caution. So if you think about the nutrition, say, I think how many of you have taken the breakfast? The students, I think all of you are here. How many of you have taken the breakfast? I think almost 50% would not have taken the breakfast. See, the breakfast is must for breaking the fast. That is breakfast. Nowadays, the adolescents and youth, the eating habit is entirely changed. Fast foods, and they don't take the fiber diet. So this has to be counseled. They can take the fast food monthly once or twice and not frequently. Why it is needed? Nutrition during adolescence only. 45% of the skeletal growth take place and the muscle mass growth take place. So the adolescent should take 3 main meals, 3 snacks. Snacks means it is salad, sundal, and milk like that. It is not the fast food items. The carbohydrate should be reduced to 40% and the total calories should be 1,500 to 1,600 calories per day. See, these are all the diet which should be taken frequently, and these are all the diet which should be avoided. I don't tell that you should not take it, but less frequently. Then anemia, when you consider, I used to go to schools for the adolescents counseling. When we take the hemoglobin, about 50% of the girls are less than 8% anemia. So if the girl is complaining of tiredness, lack of concentration, hair loss, and irritability, first we have to think of anemia. When a girl is 12, doing 12 standard, her hemoglobin should be 12 grams. If the anemia is not corrected during the adolescence, with this anemia, they will get married, and during the pregnancy, again, anemia will be a problem. See, during the delivery, the 40 to 50% of the maternal death, that is death during pregnancy, is due to anemia only. So here you see anemia, 48% of Indian adolescents are anemic. Of this, 20% are moderate to severe anemia. Simple iron-rich diet. And nowadays, the government is having the WIPS, that is the weekly folic acid, and the albendazole once in 6 months, that is deworming tablets. These are all the simple things which has to be followed, which will correct the anemia. Obesity, I think Dr. Usha madam has given a wonderful talk about the obesity. So I skip that. As she told, if you don't correct obesity in adolescents, 90% of the PCOS. See, most of the time, the girls are also not bothered. The parents, they'll come with an ultrasound and tell that my daughter is having PCOS, whether she can get married, whether she will get a child. Lot of questions. PCOS is nothing. It is only a lifestyle modification. As I told, 30 minutes exercise, 3 meals is more than enough. See, estrogen and progesterone is the female hormone. When you don't follow the lifestyle modifications, what will happen? The testosterone level will get increased and you will have unwanted hair in unwanted place and hair will fall in the frontal head, that leading to alopecia. So lifestyle modifications alone will help in all of the obesity problems. So these are all the simple exercises you can do. And what I will advise, don't take snacks when you watch the TV. See, when you are not able to do these exercises, that is, you are doing +2 on the university exams, as madam told, you can walk upstairs, avoid the elevators, avoid the lift. And if you are going by bus to the schools, get down in the first stop itself and walk for a few distances, take up the stairs. These are all the simple exercises. And if nothing can be done, you can do sit-ups, 30 minutes. Thopu karna podrathu is very, very important. See, we used to put sit-ups for the God player, but what the American study tells, if you do the sit-ups, your memory power also will increase. So, namma podra thopu karna memory power na US people are doing. So, it is better to go for 30 sit-ups daily if you don't have any time. As Madam told, if the PCOS is not corrected in the adolescent itself, again they will get married with that, and when they become pregnant, GDM will come. From the GDM means gestational diabetes mellitus, that is diabetes during pregnancy. So when you have diabetes during pregnancy, what will happen? The baby will grow, that is weight of 4 kg macrosomia. So she will deliver the macrosomia baby of 4 kg. That baby again during the adolescence, she will become the obese adolescent and go for PCOS. So that will be the cycle. So all should be corrected only during the adolescent itself. Then comes the menstrual health. I think Dr. Lakshmi Madam has covered everything. I will take some simple points. The menstrual cycle, you should know what is happening in our body, what is ovulation, and how the pregnancy occurs, and what are all the safe period to prevent the pregnancy. So ovulation normally happens at the 14th day. So the menstrual cycle is not once in 28 days. Even if it is less than 23 days, and if it is more than 35 to 40 days, is enough. For a year, you should have at least 8 cycles, that's all. Other than that, monthly cycle you should have, it is not compulsory. See, this hygiene is very, very important during menstruations. Previously, clothes, then diapers, again cloths. The cloths, homemade cloths can be used, and now you have the menstrual cups also. The hygiene is very, very important. Whatever you use, it has to be changed once in 6 hours. And wash your hands, wash your private parts. This will lead to UTI, inflammatory, urinary tract infections, pelvic inflammatory disease, and the white discharge. So the hygiene is very, very important. Menstrual cups, usually we don't advise for adolescents, but some adolescents who are comfortable with the menstrual cup means they can use the menstrual cups. It can be changed once in 12 hours. That's all. There is no necessity. Just you can wash and you can reuse it. So the menstrual hygiene, if you don't follow, as I told, there will be itching over the thigh, and the rashes will be present, urinary tract infections, pelvic inflammatory disease. And if you don't correct, again, this menstrual hygiene, if they don't follow, when they get married, again, infertility. Because of this hygiene itself, white discharge will happen, that will go to PID and infertility, and finally, a lot of complications. So then comes the teenage pregnancy. The marriage, now we are thinking that marriage is at 18 years. They are thinking whether it can be changed to marriage at 21 years. But still, 2/3 are sexually active before 20th birthday, as I told earlier. Then 49% of girls get married before 20. So 14 million children born worldwide during 15 to 19 years. If you get married during the adolescent period, what will happen? What are all the causes? One side, poverty, unemployment, school dropouts, early marriage, because the family will not be having financially sound. So they want the girl to get married easily. These are on one hand, poor access to healthcare. On the other side, alcoholism, substance abuse, gang activity, influence of media, and rape. These are all on the other side which leads to the teenage pregnancy. So how we can prevent this? This is only by the counseling. Educate the girls. Today is International Women's Day. So all girls could get education. If a girl is educated, the whole family, the whole world will get educated. If a boy is educated, only he will get educated. Okay. So avoid early marriage and to prevent pregnancy. If at all, if you are going to get the early marriage, please talk to them about the contraceptions, counseling of the contraceptions, and the early pregnancy should be avoided. And employment, again, engage. If you are not able to go to schools, and if you don't have money, engage yourself with other extracurricular activities, tailoring, embroidery. There are so many things in life. So make the adolescents to get engaged and diagnosed. So to avoid pregnancy, only thing, whenever we do the adolescent counseling, we have to talk about the contraceptions also to the girls. It is not that like previous. Now, if a girl comes and tells us that I am living with my boyfriend, I don't want to get pregnancy means, you can give counseling that after marriage you can do so and so. But at that time, you have to talk about even the contraceptions to the girls. You have to tell about all the methods available, tablets, injections, whatever it is. And the girl can decide, and you should support whatever she decides. So prevent unsafe abortion. This is the comprehensive healthcare. Comprehensive sexual education is very, very important. Previously, we were talking about unsafe abortions, septic abortions and all. Because when the doctor is not doing, they will go to the unqualified person and they will come with unsafe abortion. Now we are talking about the safe abortion. And for the latest in 2022 era, there are studies which tells that we have to give respectful abortion care, RAC. RAC training is going on throughout India. So the comprehensive sexuality education is important. Who can give this? Parents. Parents should spend at least 2 hours with the children. That is when they take the dinner, all of them should sit together and they should talk from morning to night what happened, who is your friends. If you think about the friends, you can judge your children. And the nurse or the healthcare workers, the doctors, everyone, even the celebrities. If you tell the counseling with the celebrities, it will be very, very useful. So these are all the complications when they become adolescent pregnancy means maternal mortality is increased, anemia is increased, cesarean rate is increased. So everything has to be corrected only in the adolescence. Mental health. Now the stress. A boy or a girl is doing 12th standard means lot of stress. Everyone wants the children to become the school first, and teachers tell that the school should get the first, and a lot of stress for the students. So to relieve from the stress, they have to do simple yogas. That is, don't decide anything when you are under depression or stress. This is the simple advice. With the stress only, you girls or boys becomes addicted to alcohol, smoking, drug abuse. So what will happen if they are going to become addicted to this? Academic performance will go to zero. And finally, smoking will produce lung cancers, and drug abuse will produce all sides of cancer. Alcohol will produce liver cancer. There are a lot of disturbance with the health. So free from stress is very, very important. Then finally, the media. Media is the one nowadays controlling all adolescents. They don't go for outer girls, only the indoor games, always with the cell phone, laptop, computer, whatever it is, Instagram, Facebook, lot of methods we don't know. See, if you think, parents may not know the password of the children, but the children, they know the password of the parents. The parents should take effort and see what the children is doing. So addiction to internet, and from the adolescents whom they are contacting with the cell phone, and who texting, talking, girlfriend, whatever it is. The media only to certain extent it should be used. Media, again, it is a double sword edge. Now, because when it is used in a proper sense, now you see in the COVID era, even the classes are taken only with the media. That is a good point. In the negative point, with the media itself, without saying the face, they will have the boyfriend, they will give all information. Finally, they will end up in the problem. All of you are know about the cyber addiction and everything. So the media, it should be used only 2 hours per day. It is not even good for the health. Eyes will get problem, and the neck they will have the some problems will be present. So finally, the sexual health. You previously used to talk about good touch and safe touch. Nowadays, it is not good touch and safe touch. Good touch and bad touch. Now it is safe touch and unsafe touch. The touch, what will happen? If it is safe, what will happen? If it is unsafe, again. So when a girl or a boy, they should take pleasure in telling no. Never say yes when you want to tell no. So you should know whether if you are talking with the person and if he is touching you means whether are you going to end up in the problem or what will happen. So never go to any place alone. So if your boy is following a girl, the girl should tell no in the polite refusal. Give reasons, repeat refusal. Tell him that I want to shine in my profession. I have a lot of commitments. So avoid the situations and ignore the person, find other support. Always talk about your problems with the parents. Mother and the father is the only person, 2 persons who will think good for the children. So always discuss with your parents and not with your friends. She also knows nothing. Scientifically also she doesn't know. So always discuss your problems with your parents. With the boys, I used to tell, all of you are very fond of this movie. No means no, that's all. See, if the girl is telling no means the word no has a lot of meaning. Here you can see that whether she is a known person or unknown person, whether she is a professionalist, a sex worker, no means no. So for a girl and a boy, the word no has a lot of meanings. Most of the time, the sexual abuse is mostly by the known person only. So if you have a mind that this person is going to do something, means you should identify whether it is a safe touch or unsafe touch. And finally, you should be aware of the POCSO Act. This POCSO Act is for adolescents who are less than 18 years. If somebody is troubling you, you can go and complain to the police, and the police will take immediate action. Within 6 months, that person will be punishable. So all of the girls and the boys should be aware of the POCSO Act. Only thing the sexual abuse incidence is reduced is most of the time the girls don't come out and they don't tell their problems. That is the reason. So with the POCSO Act is to help the adolescents. So finally, the counseling, as I told earlier, it can be done by anyone, family friends, teachers, politicians, musicians, film stars. Everyone can do the counseling such that the future adolescent will make a good India, good world. What are all the 10 scores of life skills? This is the final, I always tell to the adolescent: self-awareness, empathy, critical thinking. Always thinking different. Don't be like other persons. Whatever profession you do, you should be different from others. Not everyone is doing the same work. Means something nowadays the competition is very big. So you should have the critical thinking, creative thinking, and decision making, problem solving. If the friends are cope up with the stress, that is very, very important. If somebody is having the alcohol and cigarette smoking, means you should know how to cope up with that person. So you should counsel them. If you have take this, you will end up in a lot of problems in future. So communication mainly with the parents and whom you trust. Interpersonal relationship, coping with stress and coping with emotion. If you follow this, you can have a bright future. As all of us are aware of this, I think only because of this adolescents and youth Jallikattu came into action. Okay, so if the adolescents decide anything, it can be done practically. Once again, I thank the organizers for giving me the opportunity. Thank you.
Thank you, Dr. Sampath Kumari, for this very illustrative counseling. So that as there is no questions in the chat box, the students, they can come out with the questions if they have got any doubts. Please clarify your doubts. This program is meant for you people. So please clarify your doubts. Come out with the doubts.
Madam, see, if you don't have doubts, you didn't understand anything, students. Otherwise, second point is you have understood everything. In which category you belong, you tell that answer.
Probably the second category. Don't underestimate our girls.
No, not underestimating, madam. I am making them to ask questions.
Okay.
Madam, can I say something?
Yes.
The students who are listening, I wanted to say something about you to them, because I spoke something about gestational diabetes and diabetes in women, to tell them that how you and Professor Seshaya have raised the awareness about gestational diabetes in our country so much that how individual women, like one person like you, could do so much. And what you did for your PhD thesis is, I want to tell the students that Madam's PhD thesis paper is quoted by all of us and globally even today.
Thank you, Usha. Thank you so much.
Seriously, students should take great inspiration from that kind of work, and really grateful for that.
Thank you. It was very nice to have you, Usha, with this program actually.
I loved it. I'm so happy to see you and Sampath Kumari madam. So thank you so much. And are there any questions?
Lakshmi madam is the incoming ICOG chairperson, madam. We are expecting a lot of many things from her, from the Indian College of Obstetrics and Gynecology.
Wow. Thank you.
I think there are no questions. All students understood well all the subjects. So they will take the vow and they will break the bias. They will be standing on their own, self-sufficient.
Thank you, madam. Thank you, Usha ma'am, Lakshmi ma'am.
Akshida wants to tell something. Akshida, you want to? Ashika, sorry, Ashika. Yes.
Thank you to all the doctors. First of all, the session was very, awakening and insightful, because there was also a lot of facts which you all mentioned we didn't know. Like, for example, Lakshmi ma'am mentioned how much there was female infanticide that is happening. And Usha Shriram ma'am and Anjalakshmi ma'am was focusing upon how, as a woman, we should be, empowered at the stage of the birth from the womb itself. And Sampath Kumari ma'am told us like how we can improve on ourselves as girls. So the whole session was very, very insightful, and thank you so much to all of you. Now over to Dr. Geeta.
Thank you. Sampath,
Yes, madam.
we can leave, no?
அவங்க ஏதோ over to Geeta நாங்களே. யாரு?
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Yes, yes, ma'am.
I'm Dr. T. Vijayalakshmi. Very glad to participate in the very good platform. On behalf of SDNB Vaishnav family, management, principal, staff, and students, warm welcome once again, ma'am, to all of you. And very much thankful being as a part of this webinar. At the outset, I would like to thank our co-organizer for those nice words about our college in the introduction. It's a great pleasure to celebrate this International Women's Day with you all and share my thoughts on this occasion. Women are a real architect of society. They build not only themselves, but a whole community. There cannot be just a day to celebrate a woman. Every day should be a day where we respect the divinity of women. International Women's Day is celebrated every year with a huge enthusiasm around this world to celebrate the achievements of women in social, political, economic, and other fields of life. Today, women rule almost in every field of life and work at par with men. We cannot deny that, be it at home or at work, they do it all with so much zeal and ace in each one of it in their own way. I'd like to end with a quote: there is no limit to what we as women can accomplish. There is a Tamil quote also, Mangayarai Pirapadarku Nalla Madhavam Seidida Vendumumma. So as we all discussed today, each and every one have rendered a wonderful speech on their own respective field. Really, we are very much glad to be part of in this world. Our students are very much lucky to listen the webinar contents, whatever we have had here. And also, as they mentioned, there is no doubt about anything to question at all. Everything was very, very clear. That is the thing I want to make it, ma'am. Thank you so much, the people who have taken so much of effort to give such wonderful webinar. We are really very, very thankful to each and every one of you, ma'am. Thank you so much. Happy Women's Day, ma'am.
Vijay madam, I want to tell one thing.
Yes,
I am the student of SDB, Srimati Dev Kunwar Nanaklal College for Women. 1978 PUC. 1978 PUC, and I did BSc Chemistry 1 year in your college with Dr. Nirmala Tharoor as a HOD.
Yes, ma'am. Oh, very glad, ma'am. Very glad. Yes, ma'am.
I want to tell one thing.
Yes,
that
ma'am.
girls, the women,
Yes,
அதாவது
ma'am.
வாய்ப்பு திட்டினால் வானையும் எட்டுவாள்.
கண்டிப்பா கண்டிப்பா
that
ma'am.
should be the motto, and they should be given all the choices. And
yes, ma'am. Definitely, ma'am. Yeah. As you mentioned, everything is correct, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Now over to Ramya, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Ashika Sendil Kumar.
Shall I? For present the both of them. Ramya and Ashika.
Ramya?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Good afternoon, one and all present here. The best and beautiful things in the world cannot be seen or ever touched. They must be felt by heart. Thank you is one such word among them. A warm and graceful morning to our most valued chief guest, our principal ma'am, my dear staff members, and everyone gathered for International Women's Day celebration. At the outset, I would like to thank Arise Charitable Trust and Tamil Nadu Association of ONG. I would like to express my gratitude to all the esteemed dignitaries, Dr. Usha Sriram, Professor Dr. S. Sampath Kumari, Dr. Lakshmi Srikanta Nagpur, for their presence and contribution to make this webinar a great success. Today, we had an opportunity to hear your thoughts about women's health and women's safety. Your thoughts have enlightened our minds and have shown us a new path towards women's health. Thank you so much, ma'am. I would like to thank our beloved principal, ma'am, Dr. R. Geeta, for being the positive factor, stimulated us to do our best and standing as pillar of the strength for providing immense support to make the webinar successful. A special thanks for our Vice Principal, Dr. M.S. Lekha, for being with us today. An event of this dimension cannot happen overnight. I must thank the Students' Union, IQAC, and NSS team to make this webinar successful. Last but not the least, I thank all the students who all gathered here and make this event successful. Thank you, everyone, once again for making it a great success. Thank you.
எல்லாரும் வீடியோவை கொஞ்சம் ஆன் பண்ணுங்களேன். நம்ம சித்திரகலா போட்டிருக்காளே ஒரு போட்டோ எடுத்துக்க.
Students, this is Chitrakala from Shield Connect. So I request everyone to switch on the video and show break the bias symbol so that it will be end with the Women's Day celebration. Happy Women's Day. I request all the students to switch on your video. At least doctors, please do the yes. Thank you, Lakshmi ma'am. Sampath ma'am, yeah.
Hey,
thank you. Anjalakshmi ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Vijay Lakshmi ma'am, yeah. Thank you so much. Thank you, Menaka. Can you please do that? Break the bias. I will click a photo. Students, come on.
உங்க பயப்படுறாங்க உன்னை பார்த்து.
நானும் சின்ன பொண்ணுதான்.
Yes, adolescent.
Yeah. Girls, come on.
Break.
Thank you so much.
Thank you
so much, ma'am. Thank you for your cooperation. It's a wonderful webinar, ma'am.
Thank you.
Thank you, Lakshmi ma'am. Thank you, Sampath ma'am. Thank you, Anjalakshmi ma'am.
Thank you, Priya. Priya was the one behind all of us.
Thank you, Priya ma'am.
Thank you.
Priya ma'am.
Yes, we will live. Vijayalakshmi madam, thank you.
Thank you so much, ma'am.